About 40 people showed up outside Barnstable Superior Court Wednesday to show support for Elenita Muniz, who has come under fire in recent weeks about comments she made about racism. Muniz is the Barnstable County Human Rights Commission coordinator, and some people want her to resign after making controversial remarks at a human rights forum on December 9th. Quote, "Racism is alive and well in this country, and everyone who is white-skinned is racist," close quote, Muniz said. Barnstable County Commissioners were scheduled to meet today to discuss her job status. Before the meeting, supporters rallied around Muniz.
I really appreciate your all being here. I want to make it clear that this is not about me. This is about the conversation about white privilege that needs to happen in our community. Yes. That's what we're here for, is to advocate for that conversation, not about me. If I lose my job or not, it doesn't matter. As far as that conversation goes, we're still going to have it.
Amen.
Now, when you initially said you think white people are racist, you use that term? Is that?
I did use that term, and it was a poor choice of words. I was trying to condense my talk because there was little time left and another person who had not spoken yet on the panel, and I didn't want to go on at great length, and so I tried to do the Reader's Digest version. That didn't work. So
What do you learn from something like that?
Choose my words more carefully and take the time it needs to say things that are difficult for people to hear. We need to be aware of our biases. We need to acknowledge that we have them, to not feel guilty about that or despair about it, but just say, yeah, I have this bias, and when it comes into my head, when I find myself doing something or saying something that I know is biased, I need to acknowledge that and say, no.
Is there an element of sort of racism on Cape Cod? How does it all work?
There's an element of bias on Cape Cod, and when you say racism, depends upon who you're talking to. Some people will say black people are racist, some white people are racist, but we have plenty of different people with different points of view. So depending upon who you're talking with, that's their version, and that's what they're entitled to.
Do you think Elenita should keep her job?
Of course I think Elenita should keep her job. We didn't want Elenita to go to a person. She's putting in too much hard work.
So Scott, you're here at the demonstration, and you have a fairly serious sign here, words that might shock. What's it all about for you?
Well, I think that a lot of us whites are shocked when we find out that deep in our bones we've absorbed a lot of this racist messages from the media and elsewhere. And it's hard to face, it's not pretty, but if you take a look and maybe you have some help from people who know how to help you see that stuff, you find out that it's there. And it's my belief that all of us whites have this.
When you say racist, do you mean completely racist? We're horrible people, or how does it work?
I'm really glad you asked that question, because absolutely not. You know, most of us are not overtly racist. We're not neo-Nazis. It's the subtle stuff, the little things, like, you know, like being afraid of blacks, think that blacks don't like us, for example, being afraid of young black men more than young white men. Subtle stuff, which requires a real concerted effort to see and to dig out.
How do you work on that in your own life?
I try to notice when I feel funny around, in particular for me, when I feel funny around black people. And I say, what's going on inside? And, you know, I find out, well, you know, I think maybe they don't like me because I'm white. But the blacks that I've talked to say, no, they're well above that. So, you know, it's little things. It's really about noticing. For me, it's about noticing the feelings and asking myself, what beliefs must I have if I have those feelings?
At their meeting, Barnstable County Commissioners took the matter under advisement, but didn't make a decision regarding Muniz.
We shall